Good evening to all pro wrestling fans of all shapes and sizes from all around the world. Welcome to a very special Marigold Dreamstar Grand Prix 2026 edition of Pro Wrestling Talk, brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. I am your host, your main MC, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram, and I am not alone. As you can see before your very eyes, I've brought along with me two very special guests, not just any regular guests, not just friends, but also part of a brotherhood, a pro wrestling brotherhood that I admire and cherish to this day and further out into the future. Let me name them off for you. First off, we have the man, the founder, the host of Quizzle Fest, your number one spot for pro wrestling trivia. Welcome to the stream, Al, aka AlNukeEm. What's up, bro?
Doing good, Blitz. How you doing, buddy?
Fantastic. Glad to have you here.
Hey, it's
My,
always good getting to talk pro wrestling with you. And can we believe that we are in the second incarnation of Marigold's Dream Star Grand Prix tournament? It's a wonderful time for the company, and a lot of questions will definitely be answered as we move forward into 2026.
there's a lot to look forward to, and it's almost about that time. My second guess, y'all might have heard this voice, a very familiar voice, as part of the pound for pound boxing report. Somebody that knows a good little something something about combat sports, say boxing, kickboxing, you name it, he knows it. Rawkus99, welcome to the stream. How are you doing, good sir?
Uh, I am doing well today. Tonight, whenever you're hearing this, definitely catch you on there. Luckily, we survived the five-star GP. We survived the G1 climax. Now we're kicking in to Marigold and Noah territory. I know soon.
Yes, pro wrestling tournament season is still alive and well and kicking very hard. So, as you mentioned, yes, the Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix has reached its epic conclusion, but that just means that now it's time to step into a more golden pasture, courtesy of the Flower Fields Dream Star Fighting Marigold, as this upcoming weekend, the Dream Star Grand Prix 2026 will commence. And tonight, we're going to do the ultimate preview. We're going to go over each of the blocks, or in their case, leagues. We're going to talk about the competitors. We're going to look at some first opening matchups. And we are going to give our picks on who the top two from each block will make it to the playoffs, as the playoffs will be all in one show. As crazy as that sounds, Marigold seems to be the promotion to do that. So, gentlemen, are we ready?
Hey, let's
Blitz,
get the
I
boat
will say
running.
this. In the words of Big John McCarthy, UFC referee and MMA referee, let's get it on. Let's do this.
Say no more. Let's get it on. The League A competitors coming to the screen. We have current Marigold World Champion Miku Ayano. We have Natsumi Shozuki. We have 1/3 of the current Marigold 3D Trios champion Psycho Speed Misao Matsui. We have Arena Yamanaka. We have the Mad Dog of Naniwa, Yuka Yamazaki. And we have Aaliyah James. I have to say, this is quite an interesting block. I mean, you got a few champions and a couple of former champions in this block, but I think it's a decent balance of strong competitors, young competitors, and who knows? I think there could be some surprises that come from this block as far as matchups and whatnot. Al, we're going to start with you.
Sure.
What particular things stand out about this lineup for this block? And is there anything you personally want to see come out of this block? Anything specific? Anything that stands out to you?
Right at the jump, I gotta say, Yuki Yamazaki pulling a double duty, facing Miku Eano at night, and then earlier in the day, she is going to be facing, I believe, it is hold on, Arena Yamanaka. Yeah, there you go. So two proven wrestlers in one day. Yuki Yamazaki, you're in for a long day. Bring a hard hat, bring a lunch, maybe bring dinner. You're in for a rough night. Um, what I expect from everybody else, you definitely do have a like what you said earlier. You have a great balance of your strong competitors; those are up and coming, and you definitely could be in in line for a few surprises along the way. Aaliyah James is very much going to be trying to prove herself after what Chi Chi is trying to instill in her and telling her to not make friends and to just do her best and surprise the entire world. Can Leah James do it? You're damn right. She can. Welcome to Grand Prix season. Surprises happen at any given point in time within wrestling. Natsumi Shozuki, Misa Matsui are very well proven battle tested wrestlers. We will see how they do, but everyone is looking to Miku Ayano to do very well this Grand Prix. And with her being the world champion, expect her to dominate this league.
I like it. I like it a lot. Rawkus, your thoughts? League A.
League A is very, very, you can say it is very, very top heavy
Mm-hmm.
in many ways. Obviously, you got the champ, Miko Iono. You have obviously another champion, Misa Matsui, with the Trios Championship. And obviously, two former 3D champions in Natsumi Shizuki entering the Yamanaka. Yuki Yamazaki, Mad Dog, obviously trying to prove herself. And you can tell that she's part of that group that, among the young Margot crew, really wants to prove herself. Aaliyah James is very, very interesting because her excursion so far has been very, very successful. She's gotten over pretty much over really well with the crowd. And keep in mind, Marigold crowds, they really do like their foreign talent. We know that with Myla Grace. We know that with Zeta Steel. And we know that with Bozilla. So far, the only foreign talent that I can think of that did not do really fairly well, as obviously, was Tank.
Oh yeah, that's very
but
true.
Of this league, what's going to be interesting outside of probably Aaliyah James and Mad Dog and possibly Arena, a lot of experience. Misa Matsui has been around for a little bit. We know Natsumi Shizuki's pedigree, both in Stardom and Actress Girls. And we know she probably is going to be a little bit more motivated because she did miss last year's Dream Star due to injury. you can bet a good amount of yen that Miko Iono probably saw what Suzuki was doing at the 5-star as the champ and said, I need to do that.
That's a good point.
Because I am the champ. I am the standard bearer of the roster. So this is going to be very, very fun. And looking at the schedule, yeah, it's not gonna. For Mad Dog, it's not gonna be a fun night for the looks of it. For her time, one of this because she's gonna be doing double duty, like Al said. But this is gonna be very, very interesting. A very, very interesting League A indeed.
So, with that said, our first 3 opening night matchups: Arena Yamanaka, Aaliyah James. Who do y'all have?
Ooh. I'll bat lead off here first.
Okay.
So you have Arena Yamanaka and Leah James, correct?
Yes.
James gets the upset here. Send a strong
What?
message early. You have Chi-Chi's endorsement already. And in a way, that probably means, hey, Sadi, got this girl here on excursion. Her name's Aaliyah James. Why don't we bring her in and we can show her how to mess a few people's faces in?
Oh, shoot.
So I have Aaliyah James here for an upset victory on her first night of the GP.
Dang, that's a pretty big upset over Arena Yamanaka.
Swing for the fences, Blitz. You gotta love it.
Rawkus, what about you? Arena or Aaliyah?
Thinking about this, like I mentioned, Aaliyah's gotten really over with the crowd. Definitely, she's gotten Chi-Chi's attention. But you also have to keep in mind, in most other tournaments too, that Rossi's been involved in, he tends to stick a little bit more with the signed talent. And Arena did recently put pen to paper
Yes, she did.
on a Marigold contract and was very proud about it too. I have a feeling that she's gonna get a good reward from this. She'll probably win this matchup and this matchup to stand out because also at the end of the day, she is very, very flexible and very, very strong for somebody of her size and her age as well. Remember, folks, she is 40.
She is the big 4-0.
She is 40 years old. And normally, like I said, in life, that's when you normally start pairing off. You're not seeing that with Arena Yamanaka. If anything, she's gotten stronger over the last 2 or 3 years.
Mm. So, Arena's your pick?
Yep.
I too will go with Arena Yamanaka, but I do think Aaliyah James will put up a solid fight. Now it's gonna get really interesting. Natsumi Shozuki versus Mad Dog Yuka Yamazaki. Start us off, Rawkus.
All right. This is when it's gonna be the tell of how do I say this? Look at the schedule. Okay, 28th. What makes this one interesting is Natsumi Shozuki. If you watch her throughout whatever time period, especially during the Actress Girls days and Marigold when she before the injury,
Mm-hmm.
she can guide anybody through a match.
And don't forget, she was Goddess Tag Champ with Kairi Hojo, Kairi Sane, whatever, whichever you want
Yep.
to call her.
Yep. And she can guide anybody through any match. And a lot of times, particularly with the young Margot crew, you're going to need somebody like that.
Indeed.
Because Yuka, luckily, she has shown that she's willing to learn, and she's willing to eat the pins that she needs necessary. Now, to be fair, like I said, I'm how do I say this
Uh-oh.
without it sounding too uh not I want to say insulting, but too stereotypical.
Okay.
Somebody is gonna get the Kikyo Furusawa treatment in each group.
Oh, dude. Don't tell me Mad Dog?
It's either gonna be her
Right.
or Leah James.
Oh,
One of those two
jeez.
is gonna get that treatment. Now,
Ouch.
it doesn't mean she's gonna eat the pin every time. We're gonna look at the schedule, see there are possibilities for time limit draws,
Yep, that is a possibility.
but I don't think she's gonna be able to get a win. Not in a block that is this top heavy.
So you got Shozuki for this one.
Yep.
Al?
You know what? I'm gonna side with Ruckus here. Yuka is gonna put up a good fight, but she's not beating someone that is this experienced in Natsumi Shozuki. Not right now. And like what Ruckus said, Yuka Yamazaki and this whole new crop of Marigold talent coming up, they show a lot of promise, but in due time. Right now, Miss Yamazaki, it is not your time yet. Natsumi Shozuki, I think, will take out Yuka Yamazaki in night one.
Ugh. Now, goodness gracious. Like, a part of me wants to be so for this considering she did tap out Gochika, which is a big deal. That is a big deal. But
Come on, Blitz.
we are talking
Clean
about
sweep this.
jeez. We are talking about Natsumi Shozuki, who is a veteran, a longtime veteran, the first Superfly champion, and I mean, she's done it in Stardom. She's done it in Actress Girls. She's doing it in Marigold. I just don't think Yuka Yamazaki. Mad Dog has a strong bite, but not a strong enough bite. I got Natsumi Shozuki for the victory. As much as I hate to say it.
Clean
Okay,
sweep, baby. Clean sweep.
and then last one. Whoo! I'm gonna actually start this one off. The champ, Miku Eano versus the trios champ, Psycho Speed, Misao Matsui. I was kind of bouncing back between two particular outcomes. One being a time limit draw, but you know something? I'm gonna really feed off of how solid of a tournament she had last year that I think really turned some heads. So you know what? I got Psycho Speed Misao Matsui for the upset. Opening night over the Marigold World Champion Miku Eano. Despite as many losses as she's had in singles competition, which is very little, I think she's going to get just another loss to open up this tournament. I got Misao Matsui for the win. Al, let's go with you.
It's hard to beat to bet against the champion right now in Miko Yano. I think if I remember correctly, she only has 3 defeats on her record throughout her entire time with Marigold. I know it's less than 10.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Uh, And even though Misa is very seasoned and very capable, especially for a high-speed wrestler, it's hard to bet against Miko Ayano, who really does thrive in these kinds of environments. When you need a big match from her, chances are she'll put one up on the board for you. Miko Ayano, I think, will get 2 points from this match. So Miko Ayano for the win.
And Rawkus.
Oh, I almost lost my mic there, but but all right. This is probably the marquee matchup, obviously, of the night in this block. Obviously, Misa Matsui. Remember, you're coming off winning the Trios Championship, adding to, I believe, her reign as Twin Star Champion as well.
Yes.
So she's already starting to build up her trophy case. And one thing we know about Japanese tournaments, if you give the champ a really, really good match, even in a tournament setting, it gives you license to spin the block again for the belt. But also keep in mind, as far as single championships go, Misa Matsui and Marigold, believe, is 0 for 6.
Yeah. Yeah, that
So
sounds right. Yeah.
this would be a tremendous statement for somebody like Misa Matsui to be able to upset somebody like Miko Iono. But like I said, Miku's probably saw what Suzu Suzuki is doing, and probably will do everything she can to match that run that she had.
Ooh.
We have to remember Suzu up to the 5-star a 5-star semifinals
Mm-hmm.
did not eat a pin until Starlight Kid beat her.
Yep. Made her tap.
Mm-hmm. I believe that's going to be a similar case for Miko. And Misamatsu is going to give her a fight. She's going to give her a really, really good fight. But I believe Miko is going to take it for the win. But don't be surprised if Misa Matsui, by the time first stream rolls around, comes strolling in for a belt.
I see. I see. Very nice. Very nice. And to conclude League A, I need your top two that will advance to the playoffs out of League A. I'll go first. This was really, really difficult because, to be honest, I think names like Miku Ayano, Natsumi Shozuki, Misa Matsui, Arina Yamanaka, I feel like have the best chances. And who knows, Aaliyah James might shock some folks. But I am actually going to say Miku Ayano and Natsumi Shozuki to advance out of the League A and make the playoffs. Al, who are your top two?
Miko Yano, I think, is gonna will be like a both your China shop in this one. So I have Miko Yano advancing with an iron fist. The problem now, in for me at least, determining who that last person is,
Mm-hmm.
it's a two-person race between Natsui Shozuki and Isa Matsui. That's where I'm having a little bit difficulty right now, trying to determine who moves on. part of me wants to go with experience. One part of me also wants to see like whose fighting spirit does burn brighter throughout this whole block. That's the big X factor that I'm looking at here. So joining, I think, um, the League A playoffs or representing League A. You know what? I think I'm just gonna go with Misa Matsui. So Miko Yano and Misa Matsui are gonna be my picks.
Rawkus, finish it off. Your top two.
To me, without saying Miko Yono's going to be advancing. Because if she is a champ and she has a point to prove, similar to Al, I had a bit of thinking when it came to number 2, but I didn't have Natsumi Shizuki put in there. In her place, I had Arina Yamanaka.
Oh.
Mainly because we have to remember Shizuki's starting to come back in for it. He started getting back into the groove of things. As far as like a lot of good singles competition. Arena has done a little bit more of that lately. So was it between her or Misa Matsui? Now, keep in mind, I said, not coming out of the playoffs does not hurt Natsumi Shizuki.
Right.
At all. Because no disrespect on her side. This is just unfortunately a side effect of having a really top-heavy league. That's one of the side effects of it. But I agree with my good colleague here in Al. Because of the way Misa Matsui improved from the first Dream Star to last year's, I think she's gonna be coming out of the league. So it's gonna be both Miko Aono and Misa Matsui coming out of League A.
All righty. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. League A down. Let's transition to League letter B. Your competitors, your 6 competitors. You have the Marigold Superfly champion, the icon, Mayu Iwatani. You have Mila Schmidt. You have Komomo Minami, Nao Ishikawa, Nagisa Nozaki, and, of course, 1/3 of the Marigold 3D Trios champions, the Dark Wolf, Chiaki. Whew. This is kind of a weird block. Like, I expect a lot out of names like Chiaki, Mayu Iwatani, Nagisa Nozaki, Komomo Minami. Now Ishikawa, maybe 1, maybe 2 wins, but I can't see her really going far. Mila Schmidt, not sure what to expect. She's making her debut. This is a very weird block. And I feel like while one choice is obvious for top 2, the rest are kind of open in a way, so to speak. Al, your thoughts, League B lineup.
I guess I'll bat lead off here. Um, Outside of Mayu, there's a lot of room. There's a lot of room for people to make a statement in this block. Nagisa Nozaki, Chiaki, Komomo Minami. Those are the 3 names that I'm looking at that you can really start to make some noise here. in this block here and earn that second spot. I'll say it. Mayu Utani, I'm having you slotted as one of the first spots um, throughout this tournament. That's going to be one of the first people to be advancing. That second spot, that's going to be a big guessing game um, as to who it could be. We'll see what happens as the tournament progresses, but outside of Mayu, there's a lot of noise to be made within this league.
Fair enough, fair enough. And you're going to get a little bit of time to think about that second pick. Rawkus, your thoughts, your opening thoughts on League B.
League B is a good mix. A really, really good mix. Uh, but obviously, we just like League A, we already know at least one without thinking that's going to be advanced. Obviously, that's going to be Mayu.
Yep.
But interestingly enough, this block gives Mayu a chance to somewhat play a role of Unagi Sayaka in Stardom, the
Okay.
assessor. Because this is a good mix of people that are either on the undercard or, in the case of Nagisa Nozaki, somebody that recently just challenged for the Marigold Crimson Belt. Came up short. But everybody else is going to be interested in the 7. Myla Schmidt, obviously, making her debut from France. I believe France or Holland. So she's a completely clean slate. We don't know what we're going to get from her in a Joshi setting. At least in Marigold. Kawomo Minami, obviously, one of the 2 main Mayu disciples in Marigold. And probably the one that, if there's somebody that probably has inherited Mayu's heart in Marigold to a T, it's probably her.
Yep, I agree.
And obviously Chiaki, on paper, when it comes to the tag league scene, whether it's duos or trios, Chiaki on paper is the best in Marigold. She has been able to win either the Twin Star or now the 3D belts with various combinations of Darkness Revolution.
This is true.
So she's a very good utility player. Like I mentioned, Nagisa Mizaki just challenged for the belt. Well known, good experience. Right now holding the main role of I'm not signed, but I should be signed person
Oh,
in
yeah.
Marigold.
Yeah. Good point.
And then there's now Ishikawa. Unfortunately, now Ishikawa can be dismissed either for the Gigaton era or the fact that she has taken a lot of pins
Yep.
in the career. When the original 7 were announced, she was at the bottom.
Yep.
However, there is a similar arc that you can actually use. It might be a really good template for a Now Ishikawa. And that is 2022 Mina Shirakawa. And the 5-star.
Interesting.
Because that is the tournament where Mina legitimately went from I am the only thing people know about me are my looks to I'm gonna have to be taken seriously
Ah, I see
as
what
a
you're
wrestler.
saying. I
And
see.
now, while now Ishikawa, like I said, her thing has not been the looks.
Right.
Not folks. I'm not saying that now Ishikawa is not a looker at all. But what I'm saying is she's been in a comedy undercard role,
Yep.
either injury or people coming in have shifted her fortunes on it. But this is a tournament where she can actually really, really establish herself as somebody saying, you know what, I could see her taking her as a contender for Superfly.
Mm,
Or maybe like if she does really good, oh, maybe a United National challenge is not out of the question. That is the opportunity here for now Ishikawa. Said I don't like said Mina 2022 like didn't have like a gigantic record. Like she didn't go on a winning spree, but that is a tournament that made people change their mind about Mina Ishikawa.
makes sense.
So that to me is going to be that tournament where people are really going to start changing their mind about now Ishikawa.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Opening matchups. League B. Well, we got ourselves an interesting showdown here. All right, gentlemen. Now Ishikawa versus Mila Schmidt. I am going to go ahead and say Mila Schmidt gets her first 2 points. Al?
With Mila Schmidt, she's a wild card to me. I don't know how she wrestles. Um, I haven't seen anything on her uh, to really like ask myself the questions of how I think she's going to do throughout this tournament. But given now Ishikawa's um, how do I say it? What her tendencies have been and the results of her last few matches have been, I think Mila Schmidt gets 2 points here and beats now Ishikawa.
Alrighty. Rawkus?
I do agree in that front. Like I said, Mila Schmidt is coming in clean slate, completely clean slate to the Marigold audience. And like I said, while I mentioned that this would be this could be the tournament that makes people think differently with now Ishikawa, it doesn't mean that she's going to start off with a win. Get the crowd going, get the crowd a little bit invested in Mila Schmidt, even if she only winds up sticking around for the Dream Star.
Right.
Like I said, just have her a little bit invested because we mentioned it. Margot does have a really decent run comparatively to a lot of the other Joshi promotions when it comes to foreign talent.
That's a good point. So you got Mila Schmidt.
Yep.
By the
That's a clean
way,
sweep from us.
her nickname is the French Elegance. Very interesting there. Now we're
She
gonna.
might have a spot in TNA waiting for her if that's the case.
Oh,
Just
jeez.
talk to Iceman. Yeah.
Oh no. I see what you did there, though. That was good. Now things are gonna get really interesting. We're gonna have ourselves a Darkness Revolution showdown. Nagisa Nozaki versus Chiaki. Rawkus, you start this one out.
All right. We have to look at where these two people are. as far as what they've last done in their careers. Chiaki obviously just won the 3D championship belts.
Yeah.
And obviously Nagisa just challenged at Summer Destiny for the Marigold Championship.
Yep. Came up short.
Mm-hmm. So this is an interesting matchup to see in many ways, because if there's a good comparison to give Chiaki, at least right now, as far as her role in Darkness Revolution, it's probably Natsuko Tora.
Interesting.
You know she is the leader,
Yes.
but you can easily also tell that at least half of her group are probably bigger stars than she is, and have a little bit more potential than she does. This is that case. We know Nagisa Nozaki's record. We know her experience. And luckily, just like Natsuko Tora, Chiaki will not be hurt by losing here. She's already established a lot of good accolades on it. You can tell that she has been improving drastically since coming to Marigold in overall presentation. But she's found this interesting place where she doesn't always have to be in the top of the card, but you can never discount her out of it, no matter what. So I have Nagisa Nozaki winning here, but it's probably going to be a really, really good back and forth battle for Darkness Revolution.
I see. I'm actually also going to go Nagisa Nozaki as well. I feel like when it comes to singles matches, she's the stronger competitor, especially given her experience and whatnot. So I got Nagisa Nozaki as well. And how about you, Al?
Clean sweep. Nagisa Nozaki for the win. Chiaki may be the boss, but your track record has shown that you're a great trios wrestler, you're a great tag wrestler. Nagisa Nozaki has shown the more promise as a singles wrestler. Hence, Nagisa Nozaki.
Clean sweep. And now, Al, I'm gonna stay with you on this because I need you to lock in a huge big way because this next matchup is the matchup to open up probably the whole tournament. How big this matchup is. Yes, it's League B, but this could potentially be the match to focus on opening night. You know what I'm talking about, my friend, my brother. The icon Mayu Iwatani, Marigold Superfly champion, versus also part of Icon Peach Arrow, Komomo Minami. Al, the floor is yours.
I like a good upset. Don't get me wrong, guys. But sometimes the hill is way too steep to climb. And I'll go here for the record in saying that if we could compare this to a mafia, Mayu Iwatani may be the Dawn. A certain someone that we'll eventually mention later on in tonight's show, or whenever you guys see this,
Mm-hmm.
will be the consigliere, the right hand man. Tomo Minami, I present to everyone, is the left hand of Mayu Iwatani. A lot of promise on her part, and coming back from a devastating injury to her knee a few years back, and has turned it around ever since then, and has come up huge. I think right now what you can do Tomo Minami loses this one. This one. But I do say that it's going to be a close fight. That this match will be close between Mayu and Komomo.
But ultimately, you got Mayu winning.
Yes.
Okay. Rawkus, you're up. I'll go last.
All right. This has been the key matchup all around, folks. This is the one that's been circled on everybody's calendar. Now, why would you say that? If you're just only looking at it from a normal fan standpoint, we have to keep this in mind when it comes to Mayu. While she has had many people under her, obviously in stardom through stars, there's only been very, very few that you can actually call a disciple of Mayu. And that can mainly, if you want to look at it through stardom, it's SLK, Starlight Kid, Hanan, and Tam Nakano, mainly. And and there's always an interesting thing tying to them. None of them have ever beaten Mayu.
Uh-oh.
Only Starlight Kid and Tam have come close. Hanan didn't really get the chance to fully challenge Mayu.
And
That's in start.
and Momokogo came up short.
Yeah, and yeah, Komomo is interesting one. In Marigold, there's two obvious ones, obviously. Komomo Minami and Vittoria Yuzuki. I wouldn't say when it comes to like a mafia in many ways, but I said it, I've said it to you guys in our group discussions. So I'm gonna say here on the air for y'all. Vittoria Yuzuki is pretty much Mayu's YN. She has exuded YN energy when it comes to Mayu. Basically, folks, if you don't know what that means, just assume if somebody steps up to Mayu, Yusuke's gonna be in your face first.
Ah.
And we've seen that happen with Sari.
Yep, just recently.
At Summer Destiny. Sari wanted
She's
to
brave
shake.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
That that is YN energy. You do not think when it's YN energy. But you saw it. She tried to shake Mayu's hand. With Thursday tried to step away. Sari pushed her away. And then Vittoria Yuzuki drop kicked her to start the match.
Yep.
There's that matchup. But I mentioned it before. If there's anybody out of those disciples that has, in a very short amount of time, been able to say that she has the heart of Mayu Iwatani. Not in the way, folks, not in the way of, oh, that's the person that Mayu likes. She's the one that Mayu's favoriting. The heart of the competitor that is Mayu Iwatani has been Komomo Minami.
Yep.
And we have to keep in mind, Mayu knows this as well. Because one of the things that Icon Peach Arrow have done recently is revive a move from Mayu's other legendary trio in Freedom.
Yep. I already know where you're going with this.
Mm-hmm. Now, folks, in Freedom, mainly because she was the lightest one of the members compared to EO and compared to Kyrie. If you don't know the move, folks, basically one person runs like hell, two other people pick her up, and just, I would say, rocket launch her to the other person standing in the corner via drop kick.
Hi, Chelsea Green.
Yep.
Tony Storm, how you doing?
Yep. And that, folks, that is the move that when Chelsea Green got asked, or when Chelsea Green got tagged saying Joshi Wrestling is just attempted murder with frilly gear, she said, I agree. Now, why do I mention this? Because Icon Peach Arrow just recently used that move at a Marigold event.
Yes, they did.
And who was the missile? Komomo Minami. Now, we have to keep a measured head in mind also. This also could be because they may want to be a little bit careful with Victoria Uzuki when it comes to her injury. It was a knee injury.
Yes.
And that type of move almost screams that you want to reactivate it. But there is a good significance to that move of taking that position. Because Mayu could easily just do that position. I do believe she's still the lightest person in that trio. She might be. Still to this
It's
day.
arguable. It's arguable.
Yeah.
It's you can switch it between all three.
Yeah. So that is a very, very interesting angle. And Mayu doesn't have to run roughshod through this league to advance. First,
right?
She does it. But if she doesn't, what more poetic way to legitimately say, this is the person I'm backing. This is the person that is going to follow me, that is following me. Then have Komomo Minami do what Hanan, what Tam, what SOK have not been able to do. Pin Mayu for 1, 2, 3. We also have to remind folks, Mayu also ate a loss at the beginning of last year's Dreamstar.
I was waiting for somebody to mention it.
To Sari Yamaoka. Another young ace in the making for Marigold. So do not be surprised, folks, if you see somebody like Komomo Minami get that victory, because that will be the official stamp of approval for Mayu.
So is that who you're officially going with?
Yes, sir.
You know what? I'm actually going to agree with you. Komomo Minami is going to score the biggest win in her career through this tournament. And yes, just like Sari Yamaoka did last year, will pin Mayu Iwatani and make her 0 for 2 in open Dreamstar Grand Prix matches. I too have Komomo Minami winning. Not a draw, winning over Mayu Iwatani.
Wow.
So, with that being said, my top two as crazy as this sounds, Mayu Iwatani and Komomo Minami. Yeah, I'm going for it. Al, your top two.
Mayu Iwatani is the obvious one that you can pencil in. Um, no problem. Having had some time to think about it and reflect on this, and think to myself, who's the most suitable person going forward here? That gives you the most options. I'm gonna have to say Komo Minami for this one. Great
Nice.
upside, and who knows? At least in my case, um, say if Komo Minami gets that first defeat from Mayu, or like Komomo gets pinned by Mayu that opening night. Who's to say she costs Mayu later on? Maybe they cross paths again.
Oh shoot.
Maybe Komonami gets her win and her lick back on Mayu in the playoffs.
Oh snap.
Only time can tell.
Dang, that would be huge. That would be humongous. And Rawkus, finish us off. Your top two.
All right, folks. Obviously, one of them is obviously Mayu. And like, there's nothing short of an injury that's going to stop Mayu from advancing. With that in mind, like I said, that's the reason why I say this block is an interesting look at it. I do like said I like Komomo, do like her chances, but also considering how this schedule looks, and I know we're going to discuss it a little bit later on. You're probably going to need somebody with experience to advance as well to balance out what we're gonna see down the line. So I'm gonna say Nagisa Nozaki is gonna be the second person to advance. But
Oh snap.
but I would not be surprised if her and Komomo Minami have to do an extra match to see who advances.
Oh, so a tiebreaker match. Oh shoot. Dang, that just got really interesting. Okay, two down, two to go. League C. League C, your competitors. You have the current and longest reigning Marigold United National Champion. Yeah, I know, even through injury. Victoria Yuzuki. You have Mai Sakurai, 1/3 of La Vie en Rose. You have the songstress with the husky voice, Shoko Koshino. You have Hummingbird. You have Chi Chi. And you have Diana Strong. Diana Strong going to be making her debut. And of course, Diana Strong from Poland. Interesting. So I have to say, this block, you know what? This block, I think you got a decent balance of strong competitors. You know, I guess maybe a weak competitor. And then the others are kind of could go either way. I don't really know what to expect out of Diana Strong, but I believe I believe she's the one that has a bodybuilding or weightlifting background. So it's going to be interesting to see what she brings to this tournament. Shoko Koshino is someone that had been on fire coming into Marigold, but then has kind of cooled off, but has trickled some. Chi Chi has made quite the statement and has been a little bully since coming to Marigold, and has no shame in being the bully to Marigold. We thought, hey, Marvelous made some noise, with their little showdown, but nah. Chi-Chi's like, I'm gonna make some noise on my own and raise some hell in Marigold. Hummingbird, y'all know I love Hummingbird. She's ripped, but this has to be a tournament where she can really, really try to chain some wins together. I, it's her first tournament. It's her first tournament. I really want to see her break out. And then, Mai Sakurai, Victoria Yuzuki. You got two of the premier athletes in Marigold right there on the same block. So it's going to cause quite some havoc. Al, your thoughts, your opening statements on League C.
I'll tell you one thing. The way I summarize this league is only one way to say it. This is the prove yourself league. Okay. Victoria Yusuki and Mai Sakurai are your experienced veterans in this league and the most decorated ones.
Okay.
Shoko Koshino, Hummingbird, or who we call Starlight Bird.
Starlight Bird.
Chi-Chi, and to the Polska, Diana Strong. Prove it. The target is on Victoria Yuzuki and Mai Sakurai's back. Put him down. The thing that everyone needs to remember coming into this is a Grand Prix tournament. Favorites can fall at any given point in time. Let's go back to the 5-star, shall we? Recent World of Stardom champion Saya Kamatani didn't even make playoffs. Right. Utami Hayashishita, a former World of Stardom champion and a former Marigold World champion, didn't even make playoffs. Azumi, last year's runner-up, got eliminated in the quarterfinals. Things can happen where upsets can happen at any given time, and thus knocking out certain favorites. This is the league that's probably the most susceptible to doing so, given everybody in this lineup. Victoria Yuzuki, you have likely as the strongest favorite of everybody in this group. And you have wild cards here in Chi-Chi and Shoko Koshino. Mai is probably the last favorite here, and who many people will probably have in second place to move on. But this is a league that's pretty open here and susceptible to upsets. We will see how this tournament progresses, but there's a lot of matches here that I'm going to be looking at and saying, actually, you know what? Maybe an upset could happen here, an upset could happen there, and it's going to cost some people some points.
I see. Rawkus, your opening thoughts, League C.
League C. This is the one where three names scream out at you.
Okay.
If three names scream out at you in a format that only two can remain, it is going to be very, very interesting to see how this shapes up. Now, the main thing to think about when it comes to Victoria Yuzuki is she's just come back from injury. And if she's just come back from injury, they might want to put out the brakes a little bit. However, we know damn well that she has one date circle, and that's with Chi Chi.
Yep.
That is the fade that Victoria Yuzuki wants.
September 19, ladies and gentlemen. Mark it down.
Mark it down.
And when you look at the other competitors, obviously, they said Diana Strong, another foreign talent coming in, pretty much a clean slate as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hummingbird, we all see the potential.
Yep.
We all see where she can go. At the same time, we know that it's been pretty hard for her to get there.
Yep.
And Syoko Kashino, we know what she did as Flying Penguin. And we know a lot of girls in Marigold, a lot of the Joshis, she's the one that has she's one of the more beefier, I would say, members of the roster. With that in mind, if there is probably, and I have to thank Scotty Wrestling to thank for this.
Mm-hmm.
If there is somebody out of everything that's happened in the history of Marigold that has not only benefited the most from being in Marigold, but can make a legitimate case to be the ace right now, it's Mai Sakurai.
Mm. Yeah.
She went from an afterthought when they announced who was joining Marigold. We all saw the reaction. Utami Hayashi, that's a big get. Mirai, that's a big get. Julia, obviously a really big get for as long as WWE will allow them. And then, obviously, and then that's a good hand. Have somebody that's experienced. They need somebody like that in the roster. If it wasn't for Naoya Ishikawa, Mai Sakurai would have been at the bottom for a lot of people when they saw that announcement. Because she's like, oh, Mai Sakurai's there. Oh, okay. Julia's going, so Mai Sakurai's going. The improvement, not much in skill and positioning, just overall presentation. From that to where we're at now, when it comes to Mai Sakurai, a lot of people are eating a lot of crow.
Oh, yes.
When it comes to her. So that's what makes it hard, because between Victoria Yuzuki, her, and Chi-Chi. Now, the part that what I had to decide first, Victoria Yuzuki still has a belt.
Yeah.
She still has a belt, and Marigold has not been around. So she has not been around, and Marigold has not been around enough as a company to be able to say, oh, the white belt champion, not a national champion, they can afford to miss the playoffs in this case.
Mm-hmm.
So Victoria Yuzuki, she should be advancing. It would be interesting for Chi-Chi to advance, but she has been talking a lot of smack.
Yup.
And eventually, that roster is going to come in and they're going to want to collect the scalp little by little. I think that's probably going to happen this Dream Star for Chi-Chi. I'm not saying she's going to be a pin eater, but don't be surprised if they get a good amount of draws with her.
I see.
So with that in mind, and knowing full well, this is the marquee matchup also as well during the 28th in this block. I say my Sakurai is going to advance.
So, speaking of matchups, so opening night, there's only going to be two out of League C. Only two. Hummingbird versus Diana Strong. I'll be rooting really, really hard for Hummingbird. But something tells me Diana Strong is going to get the 2 points. So, Diana Strong. Al?
You know, she Diana Strong is such an unknown mystery to me. Like, there's a lot of question marks that I want to see answered. Um, when opening night hits. Hummingbird, we know she's been putting the time in the gym. Her back is ripped. So I'm wondering like what she's been doing on her lat pull downs and how much she's been pulling down and her rowing capabilities are. That said, I go by in this case of track record. And I think that you make a statement tonight or on that night. So I think Hummingbird gets 2 points here and beats Diana Strong.
Ooh, okay. So you're going Hummingbird. Okay.
I'll take Hummingbird, yes.
Rawkus, who do you have?
This would probably be it's an interesting matchup. Obviously, like we mentioned, like I said, another foreign talent, and you want to see how the crowd picks up with them. Because again, we don't know how long she's going to stay. It could be a similar situation to Mila Schmidt, where they may only stick around for the tournament. So they have to see how to test it up, how they're going to measure her. But slowly but surely, I know for a lot of fans, it has been a little bit too slow, but you're seeing the momentum. Even when she takes the pin, you see the momentum that Hummingbird is going for. What they're doing with her. I'm gonna say this is probably gonna be the first matchup. Actually, this might be the story of this block. I'm gonna say this is gonna go a time limit draw.
Oh, shoot.
Sure.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. And now, you know what? Actually, this next one we're going to start with you, Rawkus. Fans, y'all might want to pencil this one in for opening night because this is huge. A run back from last year's Grand Destiny over the Marigold United National Championship at Ryogoku. Pay-per-view, by the way. And a certain elegant ladiness will have the opportunity to get her lick back to open up this tournament. Rawkus, Victoria Yuzuki versus Mai Sakurai.
Yep, folks, this is going to be a big rematch. This is a rematch of what possibly, it is probably one of the best matches in Marigold history so far. And you can make an argument that they gave the best matchup for each other's careers up to this point for that United National Championship. And we know this is probably going to be the match that sets the tone for this block. I have a feeling that Victoria Yuzuki may be looking a little bit too ahead towards the matchup with Chi-Chi. And I said it once, I say it again. Youth and exuberance is no match for old age and treachery. And despite not having a lot of time in the ring, age-wise, Mai Sakurai is the veteran.
Yep.
And this is a loss that Victoria Yuzuki can afford. Because out of this whole block, that's probably the one matchup you're looking at and saying, okay, we could see it. It doesn't sound ludicrous for losing, even though Victoria Yuzuki did beat her for the United National Championship.
Yep.
So I'm taking my Sakurai here.
Mai Sakurai from Rawkus. Oh, okay. Al, who do you have in this exciting matchup? The run back from last year's Marigold Grand Destiny. Victoria Yuzuki or Mai Sakurai?
It's on August 28th, 2026. Victoria Yuzuki and Mai Sakurai will go to war. And they will go to war for 20 minutes. This will be a draw between Yuzuki and Mai Sakurai. They'll eventually run it back later on at some point in time. That when that is yet to be determined. But with how far they've come, I can see that this can be a draw. And to anyone that attends this show, they will likely understand that Yuzuki and Sakurai can have the potential of a feud where people will want to say, if they were in America at least, fight forever. But right now, as it stands, Yuzuki and Mai Sakurai, in my opinion, goes to a draw.
So for this, now there's a lot riding on Victoria Yuzuki. Fans remember, Yuzuki was last year's finalist, who lost to Miku Ayano, who ended up winning the tournament. And she got the best of Mai Sakurai, which was how she won the Marigold United National Championship. Many could argue that one of these two ladies could win the whole thing. But you know what? I'm going to have to agree with Al on this. and I think they open with a time limit draw. They're gonna destroy each other, but it'll go to the time limit draw. Okay. And now to finish off League C, gentlemen, I'm going to need your top two. Al, you have the floor.
Besides that, as it stands right now, with the whole makeup of this league, particularly, one name stands out as the favorite. That I can say that I think is the easier chance to take in advancing, and that's Chi Chi.
Ooh,
I'm
okay.
having a hard time with the last person. It's a 3-horse race between Yuzuki, my Sakurai, and Hummingbird. I'm not gonna lie. Hummingbird has the potential to make some upsets here and make some noise for herself. Some good noise for herself. But right now, as it stands, give me Victoria Yuzuki. Chi Chi and Maya Iwatani's Consigliere in Victoria Yuzuki will be moving on into the playoffs.
Alrighty, alrighty. Rawkus, let's go to you. Your top two for League C.
Like I mentioned before, like Victoria Yuzuki is probably gonna. It's a good choice for her to be the first person to advance. Like I mentioned, Marigold doesn't have enough of a history to really allow one of your top belt holders to not advance when it comes to singles championships. And like I said, second coming out to me is going to be Mai Sakurai. She has something to prove, and like I mentioned, if there's somebody that does have a really good solid case to be the ace, it's her.
I see. Wow. Okay, so for me, like, oh, there's so much potential out of this league, League C. But you know what? I'm going to say that Chi Chi comes close, but barely misses it. It's really, I gotta go Victoria Yuzuki Mai Sakurai. Those are just too big of a names. I it would be the biggest shock if neither one of those ladies make the playoffs. Like, let alone one out of the two. I I can't see it. I can't see it. I gotta go Mai Sakurai, Victoria Yuzuki. Yeah. Alrighty. We have made it to the final block. League D. And this block, I don't even know the words to describe this block, but we're going to get into it. Here we go. Your League D lineup. You have both Marigold Twin Star Tag Team Champions, Twin Tower, made up of the Amethyst Butterfly, Koki Amare, and Achika, Kochika, Gochika, Chikagoto. You have the daughter of Michiko Omakai in Shino. You have Megaton. You have the Black Diamond. And also current Marigold 3D Trios champion, Riasetto. And you have somebody that's actually been rising the ranks quite a bit. You might want to keep an eye on her. She might surprise you. Nagisa Tachibana. Oh, man. I feel like this is the league that's wide open. I really do. Well, with the exception of Megaton. But I think it's pretty wide open. I mean, you got both tag team champs in the same block. I mean, I guess that really should be no surprise. I mean, considering, in the other blocks you got Mayu and Komomo in the same block, you got Nagisa and Chiaki in the same block, so not too crazy surprise. Somebody I am curious, Shino. I'm still surprised that she's even in this tournament. So I'm really curious how far she could go. Could she potentially make the playoffs, which would be ginormous for her? Riasetto has really been on the rise. Now finally became a champion. Not only that, she made Mai Sakurai tap out in that trio's championship match. So, yeah, this league honestly I think is wide open. I think it's so wide open. Al, your opening statements.
We'll start off again. I'll back you up on this point. I'm surprised Shino's allowed to make it in this tournament. Like, hey kid, you're gonna have school coming up soon. This tournament is not gonna be easy on you. And I think I have 4 people that I would recommend people to keep their eye on throughout this entire block. Kuki Amori, Chika Goto, Riasetto, and Nagisa Tachibana, all within their own rights. Amori and Goto are your most proven wrestlers in this block. Kuki being, I think, a former GHC Women's Champion as well,
The first.
and the first one as well. So that's another reason why I would implore people to keep your eye on Kuki Amori. Chika Goto has been wanting to prove herself as a single wrestler, although she's had tag team success uh, in Marigold. Can she now get that to translate in singles competition? This tournament can help define that for her. Megaton, try again next year. Uh, Rie Sato, you've been making moves. Is it too little too late? Or are you just finding your groove at just the right time? Nagisa Tachibana has been making moves herself too. Even challenged Ikoyano, I think, for the World Championship. If my memory serves me correctly, she did challenge, and I said this to myself. Nagisa Tachibana is going to have to put on the match of her life to prove that she can hang around in these deep waters that is the main event scene. And from the looks of it, at least in my perspective, she was able to do so. As we get to the nitty gritty here, I really have no idea on what the hell Rossi and Marigold have planned. It's a 4-person race. I've already said who's going to make it. The question is, which of these 4 is going to move on? That's the thing that this block is going to decide.
I see. Rawkus, your opening thoughts on League D.
There's always going to be a block, especially if you have this setting. It doesn't matter if it's individual sports, combat sports, or even team sports. where you can have a block of the Land of Misfit toys.
Mm.
This is this block. Because obviously you have Koki Amore, somebody Marigold has really, really high hopes for,
Yes.
but unfortunately has been bitten a good amount by the injury bug.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Keep in mind, she was the first GHC Women's Heavyweight Championship, a belt that she did not lose in the ring because of injury.
Right.
And obviously you have Chikagoto Go Chica, who has slowly but surely has been able to step up each and every time whenever she's given opportunity. Even if she loses, you've been able to see the improvement. Even when she injects a little bit of comedy into it. We all remember Grand Destiny last year, where her opponent was opponent S and the one of being Sari. She
Yep.
got her ass whooped, but she did a lot better than what people would have thought. And we also have to remember the lightheartedness of her match with Utami Hayashishida.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A match that
Oh,
where, like I
Chica.
said, where she did very, very well, even though we knew damn well she wasn't going to win.
She's still salty about that. You just know
Yes.
it.
Yep. But she has improved to the point when people saw Koki and Chica together as Twin Tower early on, to unfortunately use a tired analogy in wrestling, they saw Go Chica as the Marty Jannetty of the group. I think it's safe to say that Chica Goto has proven she's no Marty Jannetty. And with that being the case, you can definitely see how she's improved and how this could be the tournament where, similar to what I mentioned with Now Ishikawa, this could be the tournament where people have to say, given the field, they Go Chica may have to be taken seriously. Shino, I honestly, not disparagingly, mind you, I have to say to Shino, what are you doing here? Like I mentioned, you're still going to high school, and if there was one spot that Sadi could have slid into, it probably would have been here. But also keep this in mind. It looks like Sheena's going to make it very, very clear that once she graduates high school, she's not going to college. She's going straight to being a full-time wrestler. You can tell that she loves this business.
Can I say one thing really quick before I sorry to cut you off there, Ruckus?
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys this because I think that I don't know if this is just my bias kicking in or if I'm looking at this through rose tinted glasses.
All right.
Is it wrong of me to say that Shino's ceiling is quite high, provided she stays healthy, she keeps improving, she does her work in the ring and in school? Um, is it wrong of me to say that Shino's ceiling is quite high and probably higher than people think? And she's only 16 or 17.
I mean, I don't think that's crazy at all. I mean, Yeah, so she's 17, but still young. One of the youngest on the roster. Only 1 year in ring experience. I mean, you could tell she's the daughter of Michiko Omakai, who is even still working out herself, and who has been also helping and training Shino, her daughter. So, in all honesty, and then you have to also think about what she's been able to do. She won the Twin Star Cup, Spunky Monster, her and Sarayama Oka, who's also young. And you got two young heads like that as a team. That team worked out well. And then transition, Mad Ego, you got Shino and Yuka Yamazaki. That team worked out well. So I think it just comes down to this is her chance to be showcased as a singles wrestler over a decent amount of time. And honestly, I don't think she'll disappoint. And it may be one of those things where you don't look so much at the record she has by the time this tournament's over, but more so her longevity and what she brings to each match. So, no, I don't think you're crazy at all for thinking that. I think that's legit.
As we go to the block here, do you also look at the quality of the match and what she brings to the table against each and every individual? And although young and not just life and experience in the ring, do you also look at the potential that can be realized with her as well?
And I think with the talent that she has in the block with her, I think it's a decent lineup. I don't think it's so overpowering to the point where I think it's a lineup that you could legit say that Shino has a fair shot at beating all five of her opponents. Will it happen? No, but she has a legit shot at beating all five of her opponents. Now, let's say you put her in the A block or the C block, she's screwed. Rawkus, did you want to add to this?
Just pardon me a moment, folks.
Yeah, like
All right. Okay, when it comes to Shino, in this area, you have to first you can pretty much name her trajectory off of one sentence. Her first move out of the gate was an Uranagi.
Oh, yep, sure was.
So you can tell the intensity that she's going to bring into the ring. It's actually one of the most interesting things that you can think of. Like I said, even though I said, why are you here? I only said that because she's 17. And they're still going to school. It might be a good chance to focus on that, even though you can slide study in there. And to be fair, also, if Sarayama Oka was not injured, she would probably be in this slot too. But with that in mind, Shino is going to be one of those things that makes you want to pay attention to young Marigold. Because she already has the intensity. She already has the versatility as far as she can work with a lot of her younger contemporaries. You mentioned Spunky Monster with her and Sari. And her team with Mad Dog ain't bad either. Not by a long shot. So you can tell she can work well with a lot of talent. You can tell she's not afraid of taking challenges. When you have somebody like Yumiko, like her mother, Yumiko Hokutai, in that audience, well, you can tell that you're gonna be really, really disciplined. Also, keep in mind, folks, this does speak a lot when it comes to Marco. Granted, you can say this is loyalty, this is setting on it. She knows good enough right now where if Stardom actually ran New Blood shows on a regular basis, she would be a key player in those shows.
Mm.
But if you noticed, Mama Yumiko did not take her immediately to the Stardom dojo. She could easily done that, and they would have polished and be able to do a real good polishing of it. And maybe you do see her part of that little quintet lineup that Stardom has of rookies. Rookies are second year people that are really coming up. The Akira Kuraganes, the Emma Maishimas, the Kikyo Furusawas, the Ankanais, the Matois.
Mm.
She knows good enough to be in that group. If in Stardom, but Mama Yumiko didn't take her there. She took her to Marigold, which speaks volumes to where she puts her trust in. And let's be fair, the company has not disappointed when it comes to Shino. They don't put her in a spot where they don't look at her bad. They put her in a spot where it basically says you need to pay attention to this kid. And that works fairly well in this setting. Now, going to the rest of this lineup, Megaton, you are also in the Kikyo Furusawa section of tournaments this year. And I think she will not complain about that. All her matchups are going to be entertaining. It'll be considered a day off for most fans. She might, well, I'm not going to say that she's going to be a Kikyo mainly. She might be the Rion of this tournament.
Dang.
Rion did get one victory.
Yeah.
And this group does fit in that well. Ria Seto, oh, you know damn well this company's is putting a rocket in her back.
I believe it.
And she's very, very well suited for a company like this. Folks, there's a reason why Meiko Satomura brought her over for Sendai Girls. Even though with her submission style, she still fits perfectly well in Sendai Girls. But as far as overall presentation and her quirks, and really now, especially since joining Darkest Revolution and taking over the Countess persona in Sukeban from Soriano, you can tell that the sky is also the ceiling when it comes to Ria Seta. Nagisa Tachibana.
Uh-oh.
This one is very, very, very interesting. Because remember, she was part of the first real batch of Marigold rookies.
Yes.
And she was probably, yep. And she was probably the one that was seeing, well, the least amount of potential. And then lo and behold, who's the last woman standing out of that triplet matchup?
Gee, I wonder who.
Yeah.
And you can also, yes, I know, folks, I know what people are going to come in for it. Oh, she's stuck around with Rossi. She's a Guevara idol. That's why she's there. That's fine if you want to dismiss her not and be Mr. Magoo when it comes to what she does in the ring. You can tell that not only has she improved very well in the ring, you can tell that she's going to try to do this for a very long time.
Yes.
And with that in mind, this may be the tournament where she starts to show out. Fortunately, I said she's also been bitten by the injury bug. So, this is almost a perfect block for her. The vast majority of this block, this league, is right at her level. And her level is not at the bottom, folks. And she's probably the most underrated part of young Marigold. She's going to start opening some eyes, I believe, in this tournament.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Opening matchups of League D. So there are three. There are three. All right. Shino versus Megaton. I'm going to go ahead and get that one over with. Shino gets the win. 2 points for Shino. Al?
Go, kid. 2 points on the board for you. Shino for the win.
Rawkus?
That's it. I called her Rion. This is not going to be the match where she gets that victory from Megaton. Sweeps all around.
Sweeps all around.
Yeah, sweeps all around.
Now let's take it up a notch. Nagisa Tachibana versus Rhea Seto. I'm going to go ahead and say Nagisa will make a good fight because I think she'll show a lot of resolve. But I got the Black Diamond Rhea Seto picking up the 2 points. Al?
I'm going to go the opposite direction. I think that Nagisa Tachibana is showing a lot of promise, and she is a former challenger for the Marigold World Championship, and some of that does translate into contests like this. Nagisa Tachibana for 2 points, please.
Wow. Okay. Rawkus?
This could be a matchup that I can see where I may have to flip a coin.
Wow. Okay.
Because obviously, like I mentioned, Rhea Seto, they're going to put the rocket on her back. And she obviously had, in Marigold, probably the best victory she had in winning the Trios Championship. But like I said, Nagisa has something to prove in this tournament. I would not be surprised. In fact, this is what I'm going to call. I'm going to say this is a time limit draw.
Wow. We're all across the board here. Everyone's different.
Wow. That's quite a surprise there. And then I would say definitely the matchup to look out for to open up the D League. That's right, gentlemen. We got the tag champs that are going to face each other in their opening tournament matches. Koki Amare versus Chika Goto. So, record wise, 2-1 and 1 in favor of Gochika. This is tough because while I do believe Gochika has greatly improved, and has been able to do a little something something in singles matches. Koki has been very consistent as far as wins and points in this tournament. I mean, after all, she got 8 points the first two tournaments, so she stayed at par. But this is somebody that she knows very well. These two know each other very well. They go all the way back to their actress girls days. And they could never win the big one together or separately until they came to Marigold. But I am going to say that Koki Amare evens up the score. I got Koki Amare picking up the 2 points. Al?
I'll be different here. With these two being tag team partners and knowing that each other so well, it leaves a lot of people wondering like what they can do. Chica, I think, is the more proven tag wrestler, and Koki is the more proven singles wrestler. It's a clash of styles in how they want to go about things. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we got to remember this is still a singles match. So Koki has um, the advantage off that. Logically, you could say Koki Amari wins the match. But it's just that record that you point to earlier where Chica has the advantage, 2-1-1. And I think by the end of this match, it's going to be 2-1-2. I've got Chica Goto and Koki Amare going to a time limit draw.
Interesting. Very interesting. Rawkus?
You mentioned those matchups. And remember, not though a good amount of those were not exactly friendly bouts. There was, like I said, a time where Koki and Gochika decided to become almost bitter rivals in a sense. But fate intervened when it came to Koki's injury. It allowed Gochika to improve drastically. And now you see them more of an equal standing. But you can also tell that Marigold still wants to put Koki in a higher plane.
Mm.
And completely understandable. She has an it factor that you can't teach. However, in this case, it's putting somebody that you want in the higher position or rewarding somebody that you didn't expect to step up the way Gochika stepped up. I'm going to agree with Al. I'm going to say this is going to be a time limit draw.
Wow.
And not only is it going to be a time limit draw, it may play a factor down the line.
Reasonable.
Wow, that's dang. So y'all both going with draws. Okay. Okay. Well, now your top two to make it out of the D League. You know what? I'll go last. Al, you're up.
Okay, like I said earlier, there's a four-horse race in terms of who can advance. You only got two spots to fill. With Cookie being the most proven in the singles competition, I think she gets it. It's just that second spot where I'm now down as I think to myself out loud here. Actually, you know what? I'm reading this one more time. I've crossed Cookie Amari off my list too because I know I have a gut feeling saying that she advances here.
Okay.
Screw right here. I think Rossi takes a chance here with certain people. And I think right now, based on projections, I think he puts that second spot with Rioseto's name on it. Her hard work's been paying off. You may as well reward her for her hard work. Rioseto gets the last spot.
So you got Koki and Riaseto. All right. Rawkus, who are your top two out of the D League?
This is the one where I did not have a person that I thought automatically was going to step up right out of the gate. I just did it. Because this is, like I said, this is the land of misfit toys, and is, interesting enough, the most open block. Marigold can go one or two ways. They can steer the ship in the way they wanted to originally, which is putting the rocket on Koki. Because, okay, we'll do this by process of elimination.
Okay.
Megaton, you're out.
Okay.
Shino, sorry to say it, but you're out. Nagisa Tachibana, you'll do good, but you're out too. That leaves, obviously, Riaseto, Koki, and Gochika. As much as in wrestling, you have the tendency to want to go back to your original plans, which means Koki. You also have to reward people that, as Cat Witters would say, have become your star players.
Hmm.
And as much as I like Koki, as much as you can see the it factor, you can see what the crowd, what wrestling fans at large see in Koki, she has to be built to that. Because the injury bug has bit her a good amount. And like I said, you have to reward your star players. With that in mind, one half of Twin Towers is going to move forward and go Chica. Because she has earned it, folks. She has earned it. And then talking about another person that earned it, Riaseto is going to advance too, in my eyes.
Wow.
You can tell where they want Riaseto to be. And like I said, you have to reward your star players. I almost said the Twin Tower was going to advance as a group, but you had to reward the people that have stepped up. And those are the two that stepped up.
So you got Gochika and Riaseto.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I tell you right off the bat, no Megaton, no Nagisa Tachibana. I want to be hopeful that Shino gets close, but not enough to make playoffs. I definitely can't see both Twin Towers advancing. I think it's either one or the other. Now, I am in agreement on Reiseto. I do see her making a playoff spot. When it comes to Koki and Gochika, Oh man, I like them both. I like them both. They finally won tag team gold, and they're rising. As much as I really love Koki Amare, I mean, I have her baseball jersey. I just feel like when it comes to in-ring ability between the two, I give the slight advantage to Go Chica, given what she's been able to do more recently. So you know what? I'm actually going to have to agree with Rakas on this. Go Chica, Rheaseto are my two. I love you, Koki, but you know, I'll give you the victory over Go Chica, but I I think Go Chica makes it out of the block.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's all four blocks. So for the last thing I want to do, so I pulled up the spreadsheet. I want y'all to tell me, as far as, for each block, what is the one or two matches that you're looking forward to the most? So starting with League A, I know for me, definitely Miku Eano, Misa Matsui, I think is one to key in on. Um, and I actually have to say the run back between Natsumi Shozuki and Misa Matsui. After all, those two went at it to crown the inaugural Marigold Superfly champion, which, did end up going to Natsumi Shozuki. Um, if I if I had to throw in another one more, I would have to say Arena Yamanaka, Miku Eano. I'm very curious to see how that matchup would go. But staying with League A, Al, what are matchups in League A that you're looking forward to?
Two right at the top of the bat here is Mika Ayano and Natsumi Shosuke, your most proven veterans in this league, going to war. And I think it's the last night of round robin competition.
That's correct.
So I want to see in terms of how the makeup is of League A, where everyone's going to be standing when it comes to points. This could be the match that decides certain things when it comes to who advances in the playoffs. And does Natsumi Shosuke end up either advancing or being eliminated from group play? That's one match that I'm looking forward to. The other match that I'm looking forward to um, is Yuka Yamazaki versus Miko Yano. Yuka Yamazaki is doing double duty on September the 5th. Her first match, if I read the spreadsheet correctly, uh, who's fourth here,
Arena.
is Arena Yamanaka.
Mm-hmm.
Her second opponent is going to be Miko Yano.
Yep.
Yuki Yamazaki, this is gut check time. Let's see how you do when you're thrown into the deep waters here. No one else is going to be doing double duty besides you that night in this league. So I really want to see how she does. This is for me at least, this is just a prove it match. Prove to everyone in your league, prove to everyone in this promotion how bad you want it because you're doing double duty. That's not a short order, especially you're going up against the world champion as your final match that night.
Yeah.
You're in for, like I said off the top, when it came to League 8 earlier tonight. Yamazaki is going to be in for a long night. Bring a hard hat, bring a lunch, maybe bring dinner. Same thing applies. With Miku Ayano as your world champion and the last woman of the day for you, you're going to have to be considerate of your stamina, how much energy you spend, and how much you have later on for the night. Let's see how she does. That's why she gets this match gets my second vote.
Gotcha. I see. Very nice. Very nice. Rawkus, what matchups stand out to you the most in League A?
In League A, for the first matchup is always going to be, to me, Mika Ono versus Natsumi Shizuki. The two most experienced out of this group. And just if you notice the way Natsumi Shizuki wrestles and the way she's a bit of a perfectionist in the way that she wants to make it look.
Yes.
Mika and her pairing up with Miku, it is going to be very, very fun. And that's going to match is going to be very, very fun. Obviously, Shizuki versus Misa Matsui, bitter, bitter rivalry. Keep in mind, folks, when they had the 3D Trios match with Darkness Revolution, Lavion Rose, when they had the matchup where they broke up in between 3 sets, those two went immediately at each other. You have to remember that. Those two immediately went at each other.
That they did.
So you can tell there's still some little bit of bad blood there. And that's more of an assessment test in a setting. I'm going to say that the matchup between Mika Iono and Yuka,
Oh.
which it's like I said, it's going to be the night matchup.
Yes.
That to me is going to be very intriguing because that's going to be the match that's really going to show how far Yuka has come along and Marigold so far. She's done fairly well, but we also have to be fair. She's also done fairly well, mostly in tag or trios matches. This is the chance to prove herself one-on-one.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, those are really good choices out of League A for sure. All right, League B. I mean, I think it's safe to say the obvious. Mayu Iwatani, Komomo Minami, definitely look out for and opens up this tournament. Um, of course, I gotta say also, Nagisa Nozaki Chiaki for obvious reasons. But I really want to see how well Komomo Minami could potentially take it to Darkness Revolution, because as you can see, she has both members of Darkness Revolution September 5th in the daytime and the nighttime. So that's going to be it's already a big enough test, her and Mayu, but I think a really big test, her going up against two of Darkness Revolution, I think is going to really test to see how far she can go in this tournament in her block. Al, League B.
The easy one is Komominami versus Mayu Iwatani. Master versus apprentice. It writes itself. The second match that I'm looking forward to is Komominami versus Chiaki. Same explanation how I gave in League A with Yuki Yamazaki and how much stamina is going to be a factor in this on this night. for Yuki Yamazaki. Same thing is going to be said to Komo Manami on this night. How much energy do you spend with Nagisa, and how much does that translate into your evening match against Chiaki? We'll see how she does, and I think that this could be a very telling sign in terms of stamina, how ready Komo Manami is to take that next step forward in her career.
I see. That's a good breakdown. That's a really good breakdown. There's going to be a lot of eyes on Komomo Minami for sure. Rawkus?
All right. Obviously, yeah, the one out of the gate is Mayu and Komomo. That's the one everybody has circled right now. Like I mentioned, she could certainly do something that none of Mayu's other apprentices, other disciples, have not been able to do. Another interesting matchup to me is going to be Mayu versus Nagisa. Because obviously they haven't had a lot of interactions together.
Right.
And Mayu really does like to have the chance to wrestle people that, especially that are veterans, that were not, wasn't able to, either for politics or a standing, she was able to wrestle with in Stardom. Like I said, there's a reason she was able to make that matchup when she had the IWGP Women's title. She was able to make a matchup with Husukata Fushimoto and Ice Ribbon, knowing full well the issues that Ice Ribbon and Stardom have had that go back all the way to Thunder Rock. And there's a third matchup that I'm thinking they're going to be interested in. And this is mainly for comedy or maybe some trauma. Granted, it does involve Mayu, so you got to pay attention, folks. The Mayu match is always going to be the ones to be in key in this block. Mayu with Naoya Ishikawa.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, man.
On the funny side. Because I have to see if Mayu sees Naoya Ishikawa just for Naoya Ishikawa, or if something in her brain kicks in and says that's Tam. And if she says that's Tam, I gotta beat your ass.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah. To be fair, Naoya Ishikawa did it to herself.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong there.
Yeah. Like, she played that role so well in that New Blood show that is almost
Too well.
scary. Yeah, that is almost scary.
It's very scary, if you ask me. But point well made. Point well made. Okay. League C. Now, of course, obviously, Victoria Yuzuki Mai Sakurai to open up this tournament. You know, I am also going to say um, Chi-Chi Victoria Yuzuki, of course, for obvious reasons. Um, I gotta throw this one in here, but Shoko Koshino and Hummingbird. Even though it's Shoko and Hummingbird and not Hummingbird and Flying Penguin, I'm sure something's got to come about from that matchup. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm gonna circle Shoko Koshino and Hummingbird, which that will be the last block matchup for them in League C. But I have to say those stand out. Al, League C.
Forward Blitz, August 28th, by Sakurai Victoria Yuzuki is the first match I'm looking forward to. And on the last night of group block competition, Uh, I have here on September 19th, Victoria Yuzuki and Chi Chi go to war.
Ah, yes.
No pleasantries, all gas, no brakes.
Rawkus.
All right. Obviously, the main matchup I'm circling is Victoria Yuzuki versus Chi Chi. Those two are going to beat that. They're going to beat the ever living shit out of each other in that match.
Yeah.
And it is going to be a matchup. We all know this is probably going to be the setup for that United National Championship matchup that they likely are going to have at Grand Destiny. With that in mind, it could either be Grand Destiny or First Stream.
Ooh, okay.
The other matchup, obviously, is Yuzuki versus Mai Sakurai because I did say like they've. It's fair to say that that matchup could be the best so far out of singles matchup, folks. Singles match out of both women's careers at this point. Best in the scale. And like I said, that's even taken to the account Yuzuki versus Mayu and Mai Sakurai versus Julia. Which actually is a bit telling. Like the students had a better matchup than they did with their masters, in a way. But there is one other matchup you want to look into. I do agree. It is the matchup of the birds. It's not only because it's the birds. You ever see the picture of Manute Bol and Muggsy Bogues?
Huh.
In the NBA, folks, have you ever seen the picture of Muggsy Bogues and Manute Bol?
I'm familiar.
That's a similar lineup. Like I said, Sioko Kushino is one of the bigger women in Marigold. And despite how jacked she is, and she is jacked, actually, it's safe to say that Hummingbird is probably the Saya Ida of Marigold.
I see what you
Yeah.
did there. Yeah.
That's also going to be an interesting matchup. And we have to keep in mind, we have to keep lore. So far, there's only one faction that calls itself a faction in Marigold, Darkness Revolution. But we have to remember Mayu Watani, the reason she made we have to remember the reason she made Stars. Because Stars wasn't the first faction, folks. The first factions were essentially Oedo Tai and Queen's Quest.
Yep.
Mayu created Stars because she felt that Oedo Tai and Queen's Quest were not the proper factions to set this not only the standard or the values of what early stardom should be.
Uh-huh.
Who's to say that she doesn't also do the same thing in Marigold? And like I said, keeping it with lore. Among all of us, I think we've talked about if Maya wants a faction, it'll probably be called Estrellas.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And if you're shaping up Estrellas, somebody's got to be Starlight Bird.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the matchup to me. Like, who will be the Starlight Bird?
And don't forget, Mayu and Hummingbird have already done the Pinky Promise pose. So that could come back at some point. Just saying, that could come back at some point. Okay. And then finally, League D. Well, of course, the obvious is Koki Amare, Chika Goto, the battle of the tag champs. But I'm very interested in this matchup, especially with the size difference. And that's actually Gochika versus Shino. Like, I'm very curious for that matchup. The size difference, the style difference. That's gonna be interesting. Um Rhea Seto versus both tag champs, Chika Goto and Koki Amare. I really am curious to see how she'll do against both of them. And then for Nagisa Tachibana, I have to say her and Gochika. But yeah, those are matchups I'm penciling in. Al.
Talk it up for Kukiyamari and Chigoto. That's the first one I'm looking forward to on August 28th. Another match that I'm going to be looking forward to um, is Rhea Seto and Nagisa Tachibana. Both ladies are people that Marigold is definitely invested in and to being part of their future within the next couple of years. And let's see, when do they face? August 28th. So this could also set the tone of how they want to go about things. I also want to keep my eye on Shino and Kuki Amare. I want to see that because I want to see how far Shino has come in her limited time in the ring. And we all know between the three of us what's likely going to be the end result. I still want to watch it just to see how Shino does. This is a good comparison to see how far she's come. So those are the three that I'm looking forward to.
And Rakas.
All right. This is going to be interesting because this is the Land of Misfit Toys block. So the main matchup that could stand out for it is going to be obviously Twin Towers going at it.
Yep.
But that's not going to be my matchup to watch. One of my matches to watch in this block. Because this is a good amount of the block for some of the young guns to show what they're made about. And I'm going to mark it here with Shino. My two matchups that I think should be marked in is going to be one, Sheena with Rhea Seto. Because Shino's intensity at this age may be quite alarming in some areas. But at the same time, you can see the spirit where it's coming from. And Rhea Seto is obviously, like we mentioned, they're gonna put the block on her back. They're gonna put the rocket on their back whenever they get the chance. And you can tell Shino's not gonna be that far behind from that. That'll be an interesting matchup. The other interesting matchup to me is going to be Shino versus Nagisa Tachibana for similar reasons. Because Nagisa Tachibana, even though she's part of the original rookie class, obviously was, like I said, was the least heralded among them.
Yep.
And Shino did get a big spotlight put on her even before she made her debut because of the way her mother, Michiko Umakai, introduced her.
Yes.
To Marigold. And like I said, This kid started her wrestling career with Uranagi. You have that tied with somebody that's working really hard against the Tachibana. This is going to be my sleeper matchup of this block.
Ah.
This might be the match that steals the block. Not so much in points, but maybe when you think of this block, you're probably going to think of Shino and Nagisa Tachibana.
I'm looking at September 13th for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Ah. Very nice. Okay. So, one last thing. So, just to remind everybody, the playoffs, as I have here in the graphic, the playoffs will be all done in one show. The final show of the tournament, September 20th at Korakuen Hall. And the way they have the format is the number 1 of A versus the number 2 of C, the number 1 of B versus the number 2 of D, and then on the lower side, the number 1 of C versus the number 2 of A, and the number 1 of D versus the number 2 of B. But no buys, just straight up the top 2 make it to the playoffs. You have a quarterfinals, you have a semifinals, and you have a finals. And then we will find out who the third ever Dreamstar Grand Prix champion will be. Of course, the first one was Utami Hayashishita. The second one was Miku Ayano. So, to finish this all off, gentlemen, who is your pick to win it all? Al, you're up.
Logically, the clear favorite is Mai Iwatani for obvious purposes. She is the most battle tested, most battle proven wrestler amongst everyone in this whole tournament. But I don't think it's going to be that night. I think she will be in the finals, but she's not winning. I think the winner of the 2026 Marigold Dream Star Tournament, and I think it's a time that Ross Ogawa and the people at the Marigold offices make a statement with this individual, is Victoria Yuzuki.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Al has Victoria Yuzuki, who came up short last year, but winning it this year. Rawkus, who do you have that wins it all?
All right. Now, judging, like I said, from granted, it's a short history, but you can tell the winner of this matchup, the winner of the Dream Star tournament, has gone on to win that Crimson Red Belt.
This is true.
And in a way, also, the Dream Star has been used as a marker to say, even if it's only in a yearly thing, to say that this, at least for this year, is our ace. The first year Marigold, I think we can all agree, was almost completely set up to make Utami the ace.
Uh-huh.
And in the second year, you had to set up to somebody that was already knows how to be an ace, because she was the ace, the second great ace of actress girls after Soriano and Miko Iono. Keep in mind when I say that, folks, the word ace. Who have I talked to here in this show in Marigold that I've used this word on in our talks here?
Ah, that would be my Sakurai.
Mm-hmm. I get why people would immediately want to say Mayu. It would be the easy pick to do. It would be seen as a nepo pick because of how Rossi sees Mayu as a surrogate daughter. But Mayu is the Joshi icon. And when you reach that status within the entire scene, not just in Stardom, you've earned icon status throughout the entire Joshi scene.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to win this tournament. You're going to get your Crimson Belt shot down the line. You know that. It's pretty much guaranteed that she's going to get it in 2027. Because we also have to keep in mind, she's also coming back from some injuries that she tried to wrestle through. Granted, I get why.
Right.
I understand why. But Mayu, we need you to actually be 100% healthy for a good while. And we know your brain is chicken, but your brain does not to be chicken right now.
Right.
With that in mind, I said it, like, who deserves it more? Who out of this group deserves it more? Because you also got to consider the original Marigold 7. Julia's gone. Tommy's gone. Mariah's gone. Granted, all three didn't. Remember, none of them left on bad terms.
Right.
Nanaya retired. Yeah. Yuzuki, her time is going to come soon. And now Ishikawa is where now Ishikawa is right now. My Sakurai has exemplified the spirit of Marigold and the work ethic that they want to have more than anyone in that company. Because out of that group, she's not only one that's obviously improved the most, she's the one that stayed. Mariah left, went to work more locally and just become, probably you would say, I agree with the good friend of the program, Enigma, the anti-Sari. In many ways. Sari comes into other companies with a scowl ready to beat someone's ass. Mariah will do it to you with a smile.
That's a fair point.
And obviously, also, she wants to be in close promotion that's technically closer to home, which is why she signed to Michinoku Pro.
Yes.
Utami left and immediately went back to Stardom.
Like that.
Mm-hmm. But it almost feels like she's lost in the way so far in her starting career, even though we all know the matchup that's coming.
Yeah. It's eventually coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm. We know the matchup, but she's still a bit lost in that area. We mentioned Nanai retired. And then the other two, it's either somebody is going to build themselves back up, or the person that's legitimately says, I got next. Mai Sakurai's time has come. She has earned this. And like I said it before, when they had the first matchup of first stream, with her and Miko Ono. Remember, when I made the case for her then, I said, all she has to tell Miku is, I beat you for that white belt, and I know I can damn sure beat you for this red belt.
Yep, made her tap.
Mm-hmm. She didn't win that time. But now, with her winning the Dream Star, she can say, I know I can damn well beat you for this red belt, and now you can no longer hide from me.
So you got Mai Sakurai.
Mm-hmm.
You have Mai Sakurai. Al has Victoria Yuzuki. This was a tough one that I'm stuck at a crossroads between two paths. One, and this is where you mentioned Rawkus, Mai Sakurai. After all, we factor in from the first two tournaments, the winner has gone on to win the Marigold World Championship. So 2-0. Utami did it, Miku Ayano did it. Mai Sakurai, who we all know defeated Miku Ayano, who was the first Marigold United National Champion, and then Mai Sakurai made her tap to become the second one. And now we're at the point where Mai Sakurai has had a good, decent handful of accolades in Marigold alone. Second United National Champion, first Twin Star Tag Champion with Mirai, first Marigold 3D Trios Champion with Shozuki, Irina Yamanaka, Lavi, and Rose. Could she get this red belt potentially going into 2027, perhaps at First Stream, or if not, Grand Destiny? It seems like it's a given that you give her another shot at Miku Ayano, she's going to beat her. But the other path, we have to keep in mind, gentlemen, there is still one match that has yet to happen. Miku Ayano versus Mayu Iwatani. That can only not happen for so long. And to be honest, this might have to be the setup in order for it to happen, which would mean Mayu Iwatani would win this tournament. The only bad thing about it is she would be put into another position where she could become a double champion again. This is where I'm stuck at. Because honestly, how long are we going to have to wait for that matchup? Because we all know it's going to happen at some point. Miku, Mayu.
They can't take each other forever. It's bound to happen sooner or later.
You know what? I hate to say it. I think Mayu's going to do it. I think Mayu's actually going to do it. And I think we're going to get that match, whether it's at Grand Destiny or it's at First Stream. Mayu Iwatani, Miku Ayano. So yeah, I don't like that it takes her winning this for it to happen, but I think that's how we're gonna get it. So yeah, I got Mayu Iwatani. Well, gentlemen, this was a ton of fun. We really took quite the deep dive into this tournament, and it's exciting. It's really exciting. Different format from last year because now we got 4 blocks and we have a playoff. We have a playoffs. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this goes. Tournament starts this weekend, August 28th. A lot to look forward to, but we'll be ready. I want to thank y'all for coming on to the show, for participating. This was a lot of fun. Really great getting y'all's opinions and insight on this tournament. And before we go, I want to give y'all a chance to do a little TSA, do a little advertising of your social medias, accounts, whatever you have. Al, the floor is yours.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I am the quiz master of this group. Um, you can find me at Quizzlefest Wrestling on YouTube, and if you want to talk to me on Instagram, um, you can find me at PWF_Al, and we can talk professional wrestling all you want. I do pay attention to WWE, AEW, Marigold, Stardom, a little bit of Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, as I am the only Canadian in our friend group, for the record. Uh, TNA, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. I watch a lot, and the stuff I do watch, um, I usually like to keep my focus in when I can. Um, the only thing that's I'm going to also add to is that the upcoming quiz that we have yet to determine on the date, so that is uh, coming up in the works. The next quiz that is going to be on Quizzlefest Wrestling will be for the Quizzlefest Tag Team Championships of the world, the undisputed Tag Team Championships of the world, where Blitzball champ Jason Ingram, Rawkuz99 of Team Unk, will be defending their tag team championships against any and all comers that are content creators in their own right that are huge professional wrestling fans. We already have challengers in the form of Enigma V4 from Talk to Glory, and we also have Andy Zyke completing Team Podcast um, from the Tokyo Joshi Pod. So to any content creator um, within the pro wrestling landscape and Joshi professional wrestling landscape, come one, come all. This will be your chance for some glory.
Y'all heard the man. You may want to consider tuning in. So check out Quizzlefest Wrestling. Get your thinking caps on, and who knows? Maybe somebody will step up. We get this title defense out of the way, get that V1, and who knows? Maybe those out there may want to step up. Rawkus, let the people know where they can find you, and tell us a little bit about the pound for pound boxing report.
All right, folks. First, my socials are that name, Rawkuz99. And to borrow your phrase in that manner, because like I said, I do respect you as a host, and I try to keep my mouth clean for the most part into it, but it's on all socials. Bump you, Elon. I'm never calling it X. On that, Blue Sky, IG, Counter Social, pretty much every social media that's out there, including Spill. That's my handle there. There you can catch me on there. And for the pound for pound box report, it is not only myself. It is the main host is Mike Wilson coming in from your neck of the woods, Blitz, but in the southern area, South Carolina.
Ooh, right on.
And also joined by Gail Farkenthal of nyfights.com. Somebody that's very, people are very, very knowledgeable when it comes to the boxing space. We cover topics normally throughout the week. Obviously, the last episode we had was yesterday. We discussed Teofimo Lopez versus Rolly Romero. We discussed Amanda Serrano versus Mansoor. The scoring in that end. Talked about the mess that is so for the Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury fight. And some plans when it comes to Virgil Ortiz, but definitely catch us on there. There's normally around the time where the boxing calendar starts filling up. Because not only do we have the Mexican Independence Day weekend fight, Canelo Alvarez versus Micron Billy, which is going to be a very interesting fight. We're probably also going to see maybe some announcements, which, interesting enough, since we are talking about Joshis, we're talking about Japanese wrestling, will play key into those factors. Mm-hmm. A tradition of Japanese combat sports. Fights announced for New Year's Eve. We're definitely going to be discussing those because there's going to be some interesting matches that come out of those. So tune in, folks. We try to have it on every Monday. We'll definitely catch me on there next Monday. And keep an eye out, folks. Let the bell ring.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And of course, as usual, y'all can find me on YouTube, at Blitzball Champ. Also on Twitter, which is at Blitzball_champ. I'm on Twitch as well. I'm on Facebook, Blitzball Champ Gaming. That's where you can find me. And thank y'all so much for all the love and support. And for those that catch this episode later, let us know your thoughts, your picks, your overall analysis and opinions on the Marigold Dreamstar Grand Prix 2026. And get ready, because it's right around the corner. And also keep an eye out, as I will do my best to do some occasional recaps on this tournament. Be sure that everybody is up to speed. So keep an eye out. But that'll do it for this episode. Thank y'all so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed it. And we will see y'all in the next video and or live stream. Take care. Stay safe and cool. And we will see y'all soon. Later.
Anthony.